Hi, my name is Sharon Brennan. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and some of you may know me as the Cottage Lane Stamper. I've been doing stamping for over 20 years and a demonstrator for I think about 7. Anyway, one of the things I got about 5 years ago was this ScanNCut. My model is the CX350, and I just wanted to show you a few of the things that it can do. So you may have a machine very similar to this. Basically, I think the functions are all about the same, but let me just show you some basic things. So when you plug it in, you can turn it on here, and you'll get this warning screen. This is the dust cover, so you can open that up, and it'll always say, I don't know if you can read that. Let me zoom in. Carriage mat, and mat will move to the initial position. So you just hit carry, OK. And you don't want to have your mat in there when you do it. So I don't think it'll allow you anyway. So this is the blade holder, and it comes with your machine, and you can set it to whatever gauge you want for pressure for cutting your stuff. It goes from 1 to 12, and I have it on 7 right now. I think my blade may be getting a little dull. And you can buy replacement blades. I've got these from Amazon. They're by Brother, and you just replace the blade. When you get your machine, you'll also get a pen holder, so you can actually draw with this machine, which I didn't realize until about a month ago when I needed to look for something for one of my cousins. And this will hold, it comes with 2 pens, a red and a black, and then it also comes with this little scraper that you can peel your images off the mat with. And I showed you, so the pens fit in here, and you take the cap off and put it in, close the cap, and then you put your cap up here, and it inserts in the same place as the blade does. So very nice to have. And I've had these pens, I didn't even use them until this last month, and like I said, I've had my machine for about 5 years, and they haven't dried out yet. So you can also get a universal pen holder. I got this from Amazon, and this basically is a holder. Let's see if I get this in here right. There. Excuse me. And I like to use my Stampin' Right markers in this. So you can use those or any pen that will fit. And you can also use like ultra fine point Sharpies, which is nice because you can get those in multiple colors, as well as any Stampin' Right markers. So we have about 60 colors of those. And you'll also get with it your mat. So let me zoom out a little bit. I guess that's about it. Let me move my camera back. So it comes with this mat. When you first get it, it's very sticky. It has a dust cover on it. And you just place your cardstock on here, whether you're drawing or cutting. And make sure you have a good, you stick it down good. Sometimes I like to use a brayer when my mat gets a little bit less sticky to hold it in place. And when that happens, I have an older mat here that is well loved. As you can see, it's got little pieces all over. And I'll show you in another video how to clean this up and re-stick it. And then the mat comes with it when you get your machine, as well as a stylus for zooming in and defining the areas that you want to cut. One other thing that you'll get with your ScanNCut is this card. It's an activation card, So you can activate your machine to work wirelessly, which is what I do. Put in the PIN number and you go to the um, Canvas Workplace. I'll get that title right in a minute. And you register your machine once. I think you pay maybe $25 to register it. But like I said, I've only paid that $25 in the last 5 or 6 years. So it's well worth it for me to be able to use it wirelessly. So your card may look a little different, but this is so you can activate the wireless function. I want to show you how to draw with your ScanNCut. So like I said, mine is a CM350, and so the process may be a little bit different on your machine, or it should be about the same. But what you need is, when you get your ScanNCut, you'll get an activation card, and you can hook up wirelessly for a one-time fee to be able to upload your designs wirelessly to your machine. So the first thing you do is want to go to Canvas Workspace Preloaded.com and create an account, which I already have. So I'm going to log in, and then you'll get this screen here. There are lots of built-in projects. There are also pattern collections that you can purchase. I haven't done too many of those. There's Disney, but we're going to go back to Canvas project, and we're going to start a new project. And I want to make a label for my scrapbook page. So in here, there are basic designs that you can choose and manipulate however size you want. Can undo that. There are also borders, different kinds of borders, all different kinds. There are logos. So these are some built-in sentiments that you can choose. And with any of these, you can draw or cut them. I am going to do text, so I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to make Merry Christmas, or not Merry Christmas, it's going to say Christmas 2009, because that's the scrapbook year that I'm working on. So you just double click on whatever font you want, and you can see it's now, I've done it twice. I'll delete that one. And so then you can just double click in here, and you can edit where it says text. So I'm going to type Christmas, and then I'm going to do it again. I think it was this one I chose, and I'll show you how to, it's welded these together. So it's got one, there we go, one on top of the other. So, and this will say 2009. Then you can right click on the box, and it'll tell you, you go down to properties, and it will tell you the size of the font, and it also tells you the name of the font. So if I wanted to change this to, let's say, Florida Bold, I can do that. And then I can also go back there, and you can resize it this way by dragging the corner. If you drag this, it will stretch it out. Likewise, if you drag it this way, it'll make it long and skinny. So I'm going to try to undo both of those, and click on there and go back to properties, and I'm going to make it 1.5 inches, and you can actually go in here and type in what you want, and then it'll adjust the width accordingly. So it should say save, I just close this X, and then I'm going to go to Properties and go back to Florida Bold, and I want this to be about an inch high. So I'll just type in 1.00 for an inch. Now, put those right beside each other. I'm going to actually, if you make these too small, your machine will have trouble anything like less than an inch. So I'm going to make it about an inch and a half. I'm going to change it, properties, 1.0. So that will be like 5 inches long, and this. So then you want to save it, give it a project title, and because this is the second one I've done like this, I'm going to put a 2 behind it and hit save. And that's complete, and now I can download it to my machine. Before you download, you want to go and turn your machine on so that the Wi-Fi is working on it. And then hit download, and you can save it to your PC in a file or on an SD card or a thumb drive, which work in the machine. I believe you can use the thumb drive in the machine and retrieve information from there. I just always click Scan and Cut, transfer, it's there. So now that that's transferred, I can go to my machine and print it out. So actually I am going to go to my projects. Let's see, if I go back here, go to my projects, and I did this Christmas. Oh, you want to start on a clear screen. So we're going to undo this and undo this. And this is actually the Christmas 2009 that I created earlier. So I'm going to put my label on my mat. So it's going to center it about a half. I'm going to center it a ½ inch down from the top and a ½ inch over from the side. So my corner of my label will be here. And measure your label whatever size. So make sure you have your words in the right spot, and then you can go ahead and write it out and check out the next video for that. Do a label. I'm going to draw on a label. So I'm going to pick my font, and this is for Christmas. So I'm going to pick this one, and I'm going to double click on here. Oh, the website is canvasworkspace.brother.com, and you can sign up and get your own account. So I'm going to type in here, I'm working on a scrapbook, Christmas can't spell, and I'm going to make that. I can go down to right click and go down to properties, and I can make it however high I want it. So I'm going to make this font about, I'm going to look at it, so I'm just going to go with 28 here and close that, and there it is. And I'll increase my viewing capacity. It defaults to 29. And then I'm going to slide this over because I got my label laid out on the 1-inch mark. So it's 1 inch from the top and 1 inch from the side. And now I want it to say Christmas 2009. So I'm going to make another text block. Excuse me. And I'm just going to actually click on the arrows, make it the size I want, and I'm going to center it right there. And I think we can look this a little bit bigger. So it's 2009, and my label is about, I should have measured it, and I didn't. I stuck it on my mat already. I think it's about 1.5 inches long, so I'm just going to center this right there. Center this right there. And now I can save this right here as a project. And I didn't give it a name, so it defaults to some letters. So I'm going to say Christmas label. And save that again, and I can overwrite that name. And now I'm going to send this to my ScanNCut. So to do that, I hit download, and you can send it to your PC and save it there on like a jump stick or SD card or something like that, or your computer. But I'm going to send it to my ScanNCut, and you have to pay an activation fee, a one-time activation fee, and this is wireless. So now it has transferred this to my machine. So now I will go over and print it out. So here I have my scan machine turned on, and I turned this on before I transferred my image wirelessly. So now what we're going to do is we're going to load the, I'm going to use a Stampin' Right marker. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, so I have a lot of these. And I'm going to look, this is the universal pen holder, and I got this off of Amazon. And then we're going to use the writing tip, not the brush tip, for this. And I should have a piece of paper in here, and I don't. Let's see. So that it doesn't get dirty, and it knows the depth to hold it. So you just insert your pen. This just holds it in here. And oops, I forgot to unlock it last time. You have to push this down to pull it up to turn it. And I don't know if you can see, this means it's locked and this means it's open. So we have to, you can see that up arrow there. To make it open, to put our pen in. So we're going to put this down in here, and it's going to touch the base there. And then we're going to pull this up and turn it to lock it in. And you could still pull it out if you wanted to, but it's locked in there pretty securely. Now I'm going to move this over here just a tad. And I had taken out the cutting blade. This was in here. Take this out and make sure that the brother is facing the front, and lock that in there. And I could put my cap on here so I don't lose it. Then I'm going to move it over here a little bit. And we are going to, here is where I have my label. You can see my mat is well loved. I've used it a lot, and I'll show you how to re-stick your mat in another episode. So we're going to load the mat, and you press this button here to load it, and make sure it's square. So how we've loaded our mat. And now we are going to retrieve our pattern. So just make sure that's stuck down really good. I can use, sometimes I use blue painter's tape and just put it on the edges to make sure it doesn't shift while I'm cutting or drawing. And it's just removable. So now we're going to retrieve our pattern. So we hit pattern and we go to this. See, you can see it's, let's see if I can zoom in a little bit here. And there's the wireless image. We're going to click on this. Oh, got to go back. Click here, and it's retrieving our pattern. And you can barely see it there because it's so small, but it does say Christmas 2009. So I think this might have shifted a bit. Just gonna straighten it out a little bit. So we've got our pattern there. We click OK. Let's zoom out just a tad. Oops. And we're going to hit draw, and it's processing our pattern. And now we click start and stop to start the drawing. So I'll zoom out a little bit and show you how it does that. So start. Attach appropriate holder. That, let's make sure I have the universal pen holder and not the cutting blade. And so finished label. So one of the things I love about Canvas Workspace is you can create your own text and cut it. So I'm working on a scrapbook for my grandson, and I'm working on Christmas. So I'm going to choose a font here. Let's see, I think we'll do this one here. And we're just gonna, it'll default to, I'm not sure what size it is, let's see, 3 inches by 4 inches for this word text. So you can double click on here or just highlight it and type in your own text. So I'm going to type in the word joy, and it's positioned where I want it. If it's small text, you can zoom in, but it always defaults to 29%. So there's the word joy. So I'm going to position this over just a little bit. I'll put my paper, my cardstock, up in the corner, and for whatever reason I always use the upper left hand corner, but you can position it any place on your page. Just make sure that your cardstock will fit the image. So it has to be at least 4 inches wide, because I'm on the 1 inch mark here. So, and it has to be 2.5 inches, I should say 4 inches wide and 2.5 inches tall. So we're going to click that, and we're going to just save it as the word joy. Click here to save, and it tells us it's saved. If we make any changes on here, you can do that too. Say I wanted to go with a different font. Say I wanted to do this font here. We right click on the text box. I'll go to properties, and I can change my font here to, say, Roman. And we can save it again, and it'll say it's saving it, and it overwrites it. Then we can download this to our it says download, but I think it's actually uploading it to your machine. So click there, and it says, what do you want to save it to? Thumb drive, PC, which you would connect with an Ethernet cable, or no, maybe it's a printer cable. I'm sorry, I think it's a printer cable. Or you can, I just do the wireless scan and cut transfer. So it says it's ready, and we can just go and cut this out. I've loaded my paper, and we are going to cut this. So I just click on OK, and click on OK, and we're going to click on Cut. Let's see that. And then we click on our green button that starts stop. And it's done. So we're going to unload our mat. And there are our words joy. And you can just peel these off with your fingers, or you can use the tool, the little scraper type tool that comes with it. And they come off pretty easy. So that is how to use your ScanNCut with the pattern that you have saved. And you just click OK if you finish cutting, and you can go home or just turn it off. Okay, I'm going to show you how to use one of the several patterns that are in here. I've loaded my mat. I've got some Shitty Spruce green paper on there. I'm going to try to find a Merry Christmas in the pattern. So we'll click on Pattern, and we'll go to, let's see, go to the words. So as you can see, there are several. There are shapes, different shapes. There's 10 pages of shapes. There are objects, and within each icon, like, there are like 2 pages of different objects here. Music, pens, pencils, things like that. There's also some, what do you call it? Signs of the zodiac, if that interests you. But we're going to go to, as you can, when you get your machine, you can check out, this one has 631 patterns, and your machine might have more. But we're going to go to the one that says Lucky Winter and see if we can find like Merry Christmas in here. Just kind of scroll through them. There's 13 pages. There's one that says Merry Christmas. So now we can set the height and the width. And I don't want it to be, I don't know if you can see that. As you can see, there's different heights and widths. And I'm going to make it, I don't want it very wide, maybe 3 inches wide if it'll go down that way. So I'm just going to hit the decrease pattern till I get down to about 3 inches. And there the letters are 1.04 inches high and 3.3 inches wide. So I think I'm going to stick with that. And you can actually make several copies of this if you want. I just want one. So we're going to hit set, and that's loaded onto our mat or grid on the screen. And we're going to click OK. And now we're going to hit, we have the option here, we could draw it with a pen if we wanted to, or we're going to cut it. And I'm going to cut this because I'm doing some scrapbooking. So let's get this at a better angle. And I'm going to hit cut. And it's processing it, and then the green light shows up, so you hit cut. And so we have our cut image, and I'm just going to peel this off, and then we can use our little scraper deal, if I can find it. Here's another one that I have. And just peel this off. Get under there and just gently lift it. And there it is. And you just take out the little itty bitty parts. That's called weeding. So pull that out. And there is our Merry Christmas. It's the online software, Canvas Workspace. You just go to canvasworkspace.brother.com and register. And once you do that, you can log on anytime. So I'm going to log in. And it shows up here. Now you have your projects that you can save. You can do the pattern collections. These are things that are available to you. You can search for different things, different projects. They change seasonally. There's also pattern collections that you can purchase. And if you like Disney, and I have a friend who loves Disney, you can purchase those too. But generally, I just create my own projects. So go to Canvas Projects and click New. You just can scroll down here and choose whatever one you want. We'll just choose this one. And I'm just going to type in school days. And then if you right click on this box, you can drag it if you want. I drag it from the corner to keep the resolution or aspect. I'm not sure which one you say. Or you can right click on here and go down to properties, and you can put in the size that you want. So I'm going to say 1.5 inches, and then just click here. You can also angle it if you want. These are, if you change your mind on the type of font that you want, you can do that here. So we could change it here. And it doesn't tell over on the left-hand side what they are. But we'll go with San Diego. And you can do cutting lines, drawing lines, different patterns if you want. I generally just use fonts. So I'm going to change this to 1.5 inches and close it. And there is my my script for my scrapbook. So you can go over here on the left-hand side and give it a title. And click this little down arrow here to save it. And that's complete. Now, if you want to download it to your machine, you have to make sure your machine is on first, and you can either use it with a cable, like an Ethernet cable, or you can do it wirelessly. And I do it wirelessly. I'll turn my machine on. And my machine is on now, so I can click download, and you can save it to your PC, or I just transfer it to the ScanNCut, and it's there. So now we will go over and print it out. One more thing I should have mentioned, for some reason I always put everything up at the top of the left-hand corner. I guess that's where I usually put my paper. But you can manipulate this and put it anywhere on the page. Say if you were going to actually draw this instead of writing, and you wanted it centered on your 12 by 12 cardstock, or 8 by 8, whatever size you use for scrapbooking. You can put it wherever you want it on the page, center it, and click it, and we'll just zoom in a little bit here. And you can position it wherever you want. You can actually, if you wanted to, if you're going to write it, you could actually grab a hold of that little dot on the top and type it at an angle, or you could do it sideways, however you want. So, but generally I do things pretty much straightforward, and we're actually, I think, going to draw this. I was going to cut it, but I think I'm going to draw it. And you can decide what you want to do with it when I'm going to hit the undo button to get it back to where it was. I'm going to put it over here on the upper left-hand corner. But when you get to the point where you're ready to either draw or cut, you can decide when you get to your machine. So we're going to save this again and download it to our machine. So just make sure your machine is on when you click download. And like I said, you can do it wirelessly. You can save it to your PC, to like a thumb drive, and plug that into your machine and retrieve it from there. Everything in my apartment is wireless, so I do wireless transfers. And now it should be at my machine. So let us go over there. And I'm just going to put a piece of white cardstock on here, and I'm going to line it up. And when you first get these, they're really sticky. So we're going to take this over and load it on my machine. And I've turned my machine on. I don't know if you can see that. It says carriage and mat will not move. That's the warning you'll get when you first turn your machine on. So you just click OK on, let's see, maybe manipulate this a little bit more. Click on this button on the top that loads your mat. Make sure it's nice and square, and it loads it. And now we're going to retrieve our pattern. So we'll go to pattern, and we'll click on this. You can see it's connected wirelessly here. I can zoom in maybe a little bit. Adjust this a little bit. There. So click on this icon here, and it says it's retrieving it. And it says school days on there. And we're going to click OK. And we can decide if we're going to cut or draw. I think I'm going to actually draw first. I'll show you how to do both. So we're going to zoom out a little bit. And this is the blade. So we'll lift that lever up, and we'll just take the blade out. And then when you get your machine, it will come with this pen holder, and it will come with 2 little pens, and you can buy additional ones online at Amazon. They come in black and red. Just use one of the pens that it came with. So you press in the back here, and we're going to take one of our little pens out, and I think we'll do this in red so it shows up better. If I can get the bag open. And then you take the cap off, insert this in like this, and it'll keep it in place. And you can put the cap on the top here so you don't lose it. Insert it into the holder there. Press, and it says start and stop. Appropriate holder in place, yes, and hit start again. I'm gonna show you how to cut this out too. So we're gonna finish drawing, and we're gonna take out our pen holder, and we're gonna put the cap back on. Press it on the back. Put the cap back on. To be honest with you, I bought my machine probably about 5 years ago, and I just didn't realize until now that I could draw with it. I guess I didn't realize. I had another thing. I was focused on another function of the machine, and so this pen is 5 years old, so it's still good. Now we're going to put our blade back in and make sure it's seated all the way down in there and lock it in. And then we're going to go back to the home screen. And it's going to say delete all patterns. We'll say yes. And we're going to do scan. And we're going to do direct cut. And we're going to use the machine. You can see that. And you can choose color or black and white. And this is color. So we're going to click OK. And let's put the mat there. Press start and stop. Now it's scanning. I have die cut images from our DSP or Designer Series paper. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, so that's what we call our pattern paper. And I have stamped images, and the only thing you have to be sure of is make sure you have a nice black out or solid outline for your image. So now we're going to frame the image. So you can use your fingers or the stylus that it comes with. So this is what we're gonna cut. And I think that's good. So we're just gonna say okay. And now it tells us it's recognizing it. And you can adjust the color. If your color is really light, you can adjust the color here and it'll give you a preview. It'll show you what it's going to cut. So it shows that, and you click OK, it looks fine to me. So here it tells us how are we going to cut this. And I'm going to cut it like an image when you die cut it. So it has a tiny little bit of border around it. So that's usually 0.04. And I'm going to click OK and click OK. Now it's going to cut. If there's anything on here that any little pieces that you don't want there, you can go into the toolbox and erase them. So we're just going to say it's okay. And then we are going to cut and cut. And it's going to cut all these letters out individually. Now, if you can see my pattern here, I have a feeling it's going to cut all these pieces separately. And normally I don't do that type of font. But this is just for fun, so I'm going to show you what it does. So we're just going to click on cut, and it starts cutting. And there it is, it's all done. So it says finish cutting, click OK, and we can eject it. And, whoops, it's hitting my camera stand. Now, this is, like I said, a new mat, so this is going to come off pretty sticky. And, yep, I think it cut all the little tiny pieces out. So you can use your little scraper here and cut them out. And I like to have like a little dish to put something in. So I'm gonna go run and get that and I'll be right back. Comes with this little scraper to peel it off. And I'm gonna do that and be right back. So I've changed my mind about this text here. When I cut it, it cut each of these individual pieces. It's okay if you're drawing, this font would be, but for cutting, I like all my pieces connected. And typically what I'll do is, if it's smaller letters that I have a hard time putting glue on, I will put some adhesive sheet behind the cardstock. So that way, when you are done cutting, you've already got adhesive on the back. But let's change the font on this. So let's go with, oh, I don't know, Florida Bold. I like Florida. So we're going to close that. And we're going to make it just a little bit smaller. I'm going to make it 6 inches. So we can check and see what size font that is. That's 1.20. That's good. It's a good size for what I do anyway. So we're going to save this again with the same name, and we're going to download it and transfer it to our ScanNCut again. So let's go see how this one turns out. So we're back at the machine and we are going to cut the new different font. And I'm using cardstock this time. Make sure you give it a good press. Make sure it sticks. If it doesn't, I have used your sheet here is getting a little worn out. You can always use painter's tape to hold things in place, your cardstock. I've used removable tape and the painter's tape seems to work a little bit better. So we're going to load this again. And we are going to pattern again. Let's see if we can get this. And we're going to click on the little image of the ScanNCut. And there it's got the new school days. I don't know if you can see that. And we're going to click OK. And we're going to cut. And then we're going to click here, cut. See the blue is, this is highlighted blue, so it's cut. If it's going to draw, this one would be highlighted. So there we go. Let's cut away. Okay, it's done cutting. So we're going to just click finish cutting, it says, so click OK. And we're going to hit home because I am done with this for right now. And it says delete all patterns. And I could cancel and save it, but I'm just going to, it's saved on my machine so I can always send it here again. So on my laptop, I should say. So then we're going to eject this. And then we are going to take the cardstock from the mat. So I have a little space here on my table. Let's see if I find my little scraper guy. We're going to peel this off. And there it said school days. And I've got a little dish I'm going to put these in. Let's zoom out a little bit. Oh, wrong way. So, there. And I've got a couple of the letters in here that I'm going to take out. Put in my dish. The L and the D are stuck in here. And then we're going to use our little scraper to pull these up and put in my dish. I like to have it in here because then all my pieces are together and things tend to get lost on my desk. So now I'm going to give you a tip on placing these on your scrapbook page. My tip for when you're, and all my letters just fell on the floor. Oh, no, they did with something else. Anyway, what I do is I'll take this to my paper trimmer and cut it off like right about here. And then when I go to lay these on my scrapbook page, I use this as a template and take my little letters, place and put glue on them and place them right in there. And then when I've got them all in place, and this way I'm assured that they're straight too. And then you can just peel this off and we're good to go. So one other thing that I do is sometimes take images from the internet. So I'm going to be working on a scrapbook page for my grandson, and say I want to put some Clipart trees there. I'll make sure that the Clipart is free. And we're going to click free Clipart pine tree, and we can just scroll through some of these. And you can buy Clipart from Etsy with your ScanNCut. Make sure it's an SVG file, and I can show you later how to download those up too. But let's just see what we can find here. Something basic. Here we go. So I'm just gonna pick this one because it's got some nice black lines to the outside. This one would be cute too, but this one says it's free pine Clipart. So I'm just actually going to right click on this image and say copy image, then go to a blank Word document and paste it, and do Control C or Control V to paste, and it's like huge, right? So you can right click on this image, go down to size and position, and you can tell how big you want it. So let's say like 2 inches. And if you do it this way and don't touch the width, it'll automatically keep it to scale. So we have that, and then I go and print it out on my copier and run it through and cut it as a scanned image. So I will print it and print, one-sided, and print. And usually I'll do this on cardstock, blank white cardstock. This one, right click on it, copy it, and then paste it as many times as you want. And then if you want different size ones, you can come in here and resize them. You can make them a little bit bigger, you can make them a little bit smaller. Say you want a bunch of different sizes and you want to layer them, stagger them, pop them up, whatever. And then you just print these out in the cardstock and you'll have a bunch of images for your scrapbook. So say you're doing Valentine's or snowmen or snowflakes or something like that, and you want a lot of them. This is an easy way to accomplish that. So just print it out on cardstock, white cardstock, and I found for my printer just the cardstock I get from Walmart works the best. So anyway, we'll print this out and we'll have a bunch of trees. So cutting images from Clipart is basically the same as cutting a stamped image. So here I've printed out the trees that I found on the internet, and I'm going to insert this. I turned my machine on and it gives me the warning about the mat and the carriage, so we're going to get this out of the way first. Then we're going to load this. There we go. And we are going to, let's zoom in a little bit here. We're going to scan. I Camera seems to be a little crooked. Okay, so we're going to scan this, and we're going to do a direct cut, and we're going to do it to the machine, and it's colored trees, so we're not going to change that. And now there are our trees. So I zoom in, and I'm going to use my little palette knife or stylus. So we're going to take it and just bring in this corner here and drag it just to frame those trees. And I'm going to bring this down a little bit too. Sometimes when you have an older mat and it's dirty, you'll have maybe black marks or something on there, and you just try to eliminate as much of that as you can. So we're going to say OK. And it looks like it's found all of our trees. We've got our trees, and we're just going to close this, and then we're going to click OK, and we're going to put that border around our clip art again so it looks like a die cut image. Set it at 0.04 and click OK, and we're going to cut. And this tells you about how long it's going to take to cut all the images to there. So now we are going to put our camera down and look at the mat. And we're going to click OK to start. And it's done. So it says it's finished cutting. We'll click OK. We'll eject our mat. And we're not going to save this because we can retrieve it anytime from our computer. And we can go home. OK to delete all patterns and say yes, and turn it off. And now, normally, I'll take this to a hard surface and remove that, but I think if we just peel this off, there are our trees. And probably need to use the palette knife on these. So I'm just going to put this right on here and just slide this under here. I just wanted to show you. Now, a couple of these look like that. They were close together, so they got welded together. And I can just clip those with my scissors, or I can leave them together and maybe stagger them like this on a card. I think I'll do that. What a good idea, Sharon. So these two will be stuck together also. And this one will be by itself. And these two. These palette knives come in really handy for taking things off. So there are our little trees. I hope you enjoyed this segment. Sometimes you want to maybe create a 3D object that's layered, and you can find some of those on your Canvas Workspace in the projects. You can go under the pattern collections, and you can do a search, and you would purchase something like this, and I showed you this earlier too, so you can search for things here, like let us do fire truck. Oh, and there isn't anything. So then I'll go to the internet, and I just found this website called Dreaming Tree, and it has free SVG files. You can also find some to purchase on Etsy, but you want SVG files, and I love flip-flops. So I found this one. I just did a simple search. I actually looked for fire trucks here, and there wasn't anything. And it says no products are found. So then I looked over here to the left, and I saw free SVG files. So it came up with this whole collection, and there's all kinds of 3D projects here that you can do. And this would be great for graduation. I did some caps and gowns. I bought a SVG file of a mortarboard for my grandson's graduation. And I was just scrolling through these. And I found, no, I can't find it back again, this flip-flop one. So, and these are free. So we're just going to click on this, and it says add to cart. Now it's got an ice cream cone. These are all hanging objects, but I'm just going to cut them and paste them without them being like a tag. So it's got the cone, the flip-flop, the lemon popsicle, and the vanilla cone. So we're going to add that to our cart, and we're going to go to cart. And I've never been here before, so we'll see how this goes. It's nothing is required, so we check out, continue, go back to our shopping cart, I'm going to check out, confirm our order. Click download, and it says it's a compressed zipped folder. And we'll open this up, and we do extract these. So here we have an option that says extract all. So it's going to extract it into the same place you put it. Back to our Canvas Workspace, we have a new project open. We're going to go to our SVG file and look for our flip-flops. So here, flops, and these are all the elements. So let's see if we can click all of these. It looks like we have to do one at a time. So let's click this, go open, and here it says element grape SVG. Click that, and there are our flowers. Let's go back and choose a file, and we're going to go to orchid. They've evidently just given these names by the color, and SVG, use file, key lime. Okay, there's the flip-flops, and we'll just drag those over to the side. File. It's our other flip-flop. So now we have all these pieces. And what we do is put them on our cardstock, or cut out pieces of cardstock. Let's zoom in a little bit so you can see how big these are. So, and this will also tell you the sizes down here. So sometimes what I've done is I've resized these. Now these are bigger than I want. And it has the hole in there. So I think when I would go cut this out, I would probably trash that hole there and there. So let's try and resize these. So I don't want them, this is actually 7 inches. So I'm going to go to 2 inches. Inches for this too, because it looks like they're layered. Nope. So this will have to be 4 inches because there's 2 of them. Now a way to check that is to layer one on top of the other and just see how they fit. Now we're going to do the same thing for this. I'm going to actually take this down here and bring it to forward, or bring this one to the back. So this one lays on top of it. So now, oops, I'm grabbing the wrong one. I am going to grab this one and match it up with the flip-flop to make sure it's the same size. I keep grabbing the wrong one. So once I know that they're the right size, I can just drag it over here. And I'll do the same thing with this. Now this one appears to go on the top of this. So I'm going to bring this backward. And we're going to resize this. Back to see how they actually look. So this is how the purple is, the lighter purple is, oh, okay. You can see how it goes, see. So the light purple goes in the back and the darker purple on front. So got these together here. Oh, I'm just going to drag this one over here. That will fit. And we've got those. Now what I would do is go and cut, see what sizes these are. And cut out pieces of cardstock in these colors and place them on my grid. So I'm going to put this one at 2 inches and 1 inch in. I'm going to put this at 1 inch in, and it's going to be about 1 inch wide. This will be about 2¼ inches wide. This is 2 inches wide and about 4½ inches long. And this is about an inch wide and 2. So we're going to save this as flip flops. Save it. Download it to our machine. But first, I need to turn it off. We're going to download this. And I'm not sure what that means. We'll see how it goes. We'll go here and cut. And now I'm going to go cut some cardstock, and then I'll show you how to cut this. So I have my cardstock laid out on my mat the way I hope it'll cut out. So let us go see how we did. So we have our mat loaded, and now we're going to retrieve our pattern. And we zoom in a little bit here, angle a little better. If you can see that wireless icon, click on that. Oops, hit the wrong button. Hit test, and it's retrieving. And there's our pattern for our flip-flops. You can see it. Angle in here, and the lighting is not all that good for videoing. Anyway, there is our laptop, our image. So we're going to click OK, and it looks like it's lined up okay. So we're going to get cut, and it's processing it. Now let's cut it. And we're done. Unload it, finish cutting, unload, and let's see how we did. I like to keep all my little utensils. This is a Stampin' Up! Wood block small case, and they all fit in here perfectly. I'm going to use my palette knife to remove these, and let's see how they look. So here is our little flower there. And it looks like I cut off that flower. That was a little bit too close to the top. That's okay, because there's another flower here in this one. And let's see how close we got to layering these correctly. So they're actually pretty good. You can see the lighter flip-flop in the back and the other purple flower on the top. So this flower that did make the cut, so to speak, will be just fine. We won't need that. And now let's see about our flip-flops. So here's our little flip-flops. Zoom out just a tad. And I forgot to take out the holes. So you know what I'm going to do? I am going to actually cut another one of these and make 2 of them, and then put a rhinestone on top of there. So here is this little flip-flop, and let's see how we did with resizing. So that's perfect. So I'll put these together and I'll show you what they look like. And so I went and cut another set of these. I actually grabbed the wrong color purple, but that's okay. And because I cut that 1 in 2, like this, it was from this, I could flip one over, and now I have a pair of flip-flops, not just one. So there's so many things you can do with this machine. And I hope you enjoy the segments. I'd love to hear your comments. I know my videography could be a little bit better, but I'm happy to answer any questions at any time. So there are some little pieces here on the mat, and I've heard that if you take a lint brush, and this is a new mat, so this is really working really good, it'll pull some of these pieces up for you. Just roll it across there. Or if you have a Pampered Chef scraper, that works too. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Something like this. I have one from Cricut, when I had my Cricut, and you can scrape the pieces off like that too. So anyway, just another little tip. Okay, I mentioned that I would show you how to clean your mat. So this is my old mat, and you can see it's pretty well loved. So the first thing you want to do is try to scrape off the extra bits that are stuck. Got a couple things underneath there I'm running into. So scrape that. And pretty much there's nothing, no little bits left. You can also use a lint roller and try to pick up any other bits. And I'm going to change the sheet. See, the lint roller is really sticky. And I'm going to have to use it the other way because it's unrolling the lint roller sheets. So just try to do that in a few different ways. And the next thing we're going to do is take a baby wipe and scrub this clean until I cut out some graduation hats for my grandson. And you can see it's getting some of it off. I haven't done this in a couple of years because I haven't really used my ScanNCut much. But you can see it is taking off some of it. And I'm good if there's still some impressions on the paper. Use my scraper again. The mats are expensive, I think. They're like $25 a piece. You can get them on Amazon or through the Brothers store. I think that's as good as I'm going to get it. Now we're going to let it dry. So it's pretty dry and it's really not too sticky. If I try to put a piece of paper on here, it's not going to stick very much. It's only sticky now because it's a little damp. So the next thing you want to do is I use, if I can find the name on here, Zig two-way glue. And you're going to cover the mat within the black border. Do not extend beyond that. So I'm going to shake it up. I don't know if it needs to be shaken or not. It says just push the tip to get it started. So I'm going to do this all the way across, and you can see it comes out in blue. So so you can see where you've been. We're going to let that dry. So I let it dry overnight. You probably don't need to let it dry that long, but if you have the time, I would let it dry overnight. And here's a piece of paper, and I've stuck it on there, and it sticks pretty good. It doesn't slip around. So I'm sorry I didn't show you what it looked like before when it was slidey, but it sticks pretty good. And then if you still have trouble, again, this is what I used. Zig two-way glue and baby wipes to clean off the mat along with the scraper. And I also use this roller thing, lint brush. So, and remember to put your mat back on. There's something else I was going to tell you. Yeah, when it gets less sticky, just use some painter's tape to hold down 2 or 3 of the edges, okay? Anyway, that's all I have for now. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's a little long, but I wanted to give you all the tips that I've learned while using my ScanNCut. Thanks for stopping in. Bye. Okay, I'll show you the main reason why I bought my ScanNCut. I did a lot of, I make cards mostly, and I do crafting too. And at Christmas time, I like to make little things to sell at the craft sales. So one of the things I make are these little Hershey nugget sleeves. But this stamp set I've used for years. It's called Cookie Cutter Christmas. It's got this cute little moose and an Eskimo, and Native Alaskan, and a gingerbread man and a Santa Claus, and this is a teddy bear. So generally I make gingerbread and the moose and Santa. Photopolymer stamp. I like to use my paper piercing mat, and I'm going to get a block out here, and I'm just going to stamp this image on some basic white cardstock. So it will have a nice solid image, a solid line around the image. The moose would also work well because it has a solid image, and the Santa. And the reason I got the Stampin' Cut is so that I can actually do a bunch of them, stamp a bunch, and cut them out all at once. So I'm just going to do a couple here just to give you the idea. So there's my little gingerbread man. Just going to ink him up. Let's see if I can zoom out a little bit here. There we go. Ink him up and stamp him a couple times. Now if there were any broken lines around here, I would draw a pencil mark to connect it. So I also use it for cutting out DSP, and I'll show you that too. This paper that we had from a year or so ago, and it's got these cute little images on it. So I'm just going to cut out a couple of them with the ScanNCut. You can cut them out and put them on individually. I don't have a punch for this, so I'm just going to cut a couple out, and maybe the turtle and the rat. I'll just cut out these 3, and we'll show you how that works too. I've just cut out these 3 images, and I am going to draw pencil marks here where the ear takes a break, so to speak. And it probably won't cut the puddles. It might, but I can choose not to select those too. So I'm just going to take my pencil and just kind of connect this so that there's a line, and then I can erase it later. Actually, I want to do that a little bit better. It's kind of a, there, I think that's better. So we're going to put this on, these things on our mat, and I'll show you how to cut patterned images and stamped images. So first I'm going to show you how to do the stamped images. I turn my machine on. I have to hit OK to say that the mat is, or the carriage is okay. Then we're going to load our mat. Let's see. I haven't got this up high enough, but yeah, if I move it in a little bit closer. So I'm going to load the mat. And then we are going to hit scan, and we're going to do a direct cut. If I can get that image to you a little bit better. And we're, okay, yeah, there we go. So this is a colored image. So I selected color, and we're going to hit start. And it's going to scan it now. Okay, it is scanned it. So it shows the little gingerbread man here. You can see that. There. And I'm going to use my little finger, or you can use this tool, a little stylus that comes with it, to select your area. Oh, that you want scanned and cut. So then we're going to say OK. And now it's recognizing it. Takes just a little bit. So we're going to go OK. And we're going to do that thing again. So it looks like it's been die cut. We're going to increase the outline distance to 0.04. Click OK. And we're going to click OK. Start. Oh, click OK again, sorry. And then we're going to click cut. And then we are going to start. Okay, and then we're going to say OK, it's done. And we're going to unload the mat. And OK, and unload it. And we're going to remove the little gingerbread men from, move you over here, and remove the little gingerbread men from the sheet, and use our little scraper here to peel them off. Now isn't that cute? See how it leaves a little bit of a border around the outside, just like as if it was die cut. Now we're going to try the paper, patterned paper. So I'm going to put these little guys on here. And I probably could have cut this little guy out. But we're going to scan it and just eliminate him when we do our border thing. So we're back over here and load our mat. And we're going to go back home again here to this and click OK to delete all patterns. And then we're going to hit scan again and direct cut and to the machine, and it's colored again, so we're going to hit start. And now that it's scanned them, I don't know if you can see this or not. I'm going to try to move in a little bit better. And I'm going to drag my outline my border. See how that looks. Takes a little bit because there's quite a few images there. So you can see that. It's got, we can zoom in, see how it looks. And it looks okay. We're going to close that. And we're going to click OK. I'm going to click that outline border distance again to 0.04. Click OK. Now, if there's any pieces here that we don't want cut, we click on this and it looks like there might be several. So let us see if we can get a good look at this. We want that one, okay. And I'm having a hard time with my bifocals here. I don't know if you can see this or not, but you can actually zoom in and find the piece and then click OK. You can tap on the piece too. So click OK. And we're going to tap on this little raindrop there. Click OK. And this rain, he looks okay. And we'll go to the next thing. I'm going to skip that. I'm going to skip that because that's part of his foot. And he's okay. So, whoops. Hit a wrong button. And I'm going to just finish up here and then we'll cut it. Okay, we are going to cut this now. We're going to click cut and it's processing it. And hit start. There it's done. You can check it and take a look at it. I'll bring it over to my table and let's see what we got here. So we'll peel this off, and this is called weeding. Let's see what remains. There. And it even cut out some of the, missed part of his head. So I'll hand cut that and put it together actually. But it even cut out some of the raindrops. So let's see how our little fox did. It cut out one of the raindrops on the umbrella, so I should have drawn the line there. It did cut out the flowers. That looks pretty cute. And our bunny rabbit, has even a puddle around his feet, which is cool. I didn't know that that would work. And I've got some other puddles here that I can use. So